Video paused. A blank white screen. Throughout the following video, as if on a whiteboard, a hand reaches in from off screen and uses markers to write out key terms from the narration and to draw cartoon illustrations, beginning with a smiling portrait of Dr. Paul O. He wears a lab coat. The earpieces of a stethoscope are in his ears. He holds the bell above his head.
Hi, I'm Dr. Paul O. I lead the Cardiovascular Prevention and Rehab program at the Peter Munk Cardiac Centre and Toronto Rehab Institute. We mostly help people who've had heart attacks and other coronary events get back on their feet.
Video paused. A stylized title above Dr. O reads, Warning Signs of a Heart Attack. He's flanked by drawings of two men. On the left, a shirtless man smiles and waves. Electrocardiogram electrodes are placed in various spots on his chest. On the right, a smiling man in a hospital gown and slippers holds a walking cane. A pink heart is on the chest of his hospital gown.
Just like training for any important goal, it's a tough but rewarding journey.
Video paused. A boxer with downturned eyebrows shadow boxes. The words tough and reward are written on the fists of his gloves. Then he smiles in a boxing ring, holding a gold championship belt above his head. In the center of the belt is a heart.
Heart attacks are as serious as it gets, and not something you would ever take chances with, right?
Video paused. A human heart wears a shirt and tie. Its face has a strong brow ridge with downturned eyebrows. Its arms are crossed. Ventricles and atria protrude from its top, styled as hair. The word serious is written below. Next to the heart, a hand spins a roulette wheel.
Yet it's really common to speak with someone after a coronary event, and here they felt like something was wrong for a while, but didn't get checked out.
Video paused. A progression of 3 illustrations of a man walking up an inclined plane. The smiling man confidently strides at first, then slouches with an open mouth, and finally has fallen on one knee with one hand pressed against the ground and the other holding his chest. Beads of sweat fly from his head. His eyes are closed and his eyebrows are upturned. His mouth is a squiggly line. Beneath the plane are the words, "Something wrong?" Next to the inclined plane, the same man in a reclined seated position with his legs crossed. He eats from a large container of French fries at his side. A speech bubble above his head reads, "Nah, totally fine."
The warning signs of a heart attack are actually pretty clear. They can start hours, days, or even weeks before you end up in the hospital.
Video paused. A seated news anchor holds a script. A box graphic over his shoulder reads, "Warning signs are clear." Over his other shoulder is the text, "Hours, days, weeks before." The hands of a clock spin quickly next to a wall calendar. Below, an ambulance at a door labeled "Emergency." A news ticker beneath the anchor displays repeating text, "Alert, it's actually happening. Go see your doctor already."
Sometimes they come and go, but just because the symptom goes away, it doesn't mean you're out of danger.
Video paused. A man with closed eyes and a calm expression. A speech bubble beside him reads, "Phew." Text on screen reads, "Even if the symptom goes away." A large black bear with downturned eyebrows hovers over the man from behind. It has sharp teeth and claws. In large text, the word danger is written across its chest.
If you know the warning signs of heart problems, and you seek treatment before it becomes an emergency, these warning signs could save your life. It's up to you.
Video paused. Text inside a decorative round seal reads, "Know the warning signs." The text is replaced by a smiling man within the seal. The bell of a floating stethoscope rests on his chest. Text beneath the seal reads, "Seek treatment." Then another man inside the seal wears superhero tights. His cape billows to the side. He stands confidently with his eyes closed and one arm raised towards the sky. Text below reads, "It could save your life." Text written on the man's chest reads, "It's up to you."
The symptoms to watch for might not seem out of the ordinary, like feelings of indigestion, muscle strains, or running out of breath when you're active. That's why it's important to learn how to recognize when these feelings might actually be related to your heart.
Video paused. Round black glasses with white text written across the lenses. The text reads, "Symptoms to watch for." On the left, a man looks down at the silhouette of his stomach and bowels on his torso. A small face grimaces inside the silhouette. Indigestion is written across the man's chest. On the right, a second man. He has an overly long neck. Black lightning bolts emit from 2 parallel squiggly lines on either side of his neck. Between them is another small grimacing face. Written across the man's chest are the words, "Muscle strain." Between them, a third man in athletic wear rests on one knee with a hand on his forehead. His eyes are closed and his mouth is open. Lines emit from his head next to text that reads, Running out of breath. Identical glasses in orange cover the black ones. The text within reads, related to your heart.
The one we hear about most is chest pain. It's described in a lot of different ways, like pressure, squeezing, burning, or discomfort felt in the middle of the chest. The exact description of the pain isn't too important here, because under normal circumstances, you shouldn't be experiencing chest pain at all.
Video paused. A silhouetted man stands with his face turned in profile. His mouth is downturned and his eye is closed. Large bold text across his chest reads, chest pain, with lightning bolts emanating from it. To the left, two rams collide over text reading, pressure, and a flame with an angry face over text reading, burning. To the right, a target with crosshairs and a red devil face with horns at the center above text reading, discomfort, and a hand squeezing a lemon with a worried face above text reading, squeezing. The color of the silhouetted figure turns from black to pink. His downturned mouth turns upward. The lightning bolts are replaced with a sun rising above a horizon, and additional scribbled words appear. The text on his chest is colored in yellow and now reads, no chest pain at all.
If the pain goes away after resting for a couple of minutes, we would call that angina. However, if it lasts for several minutes and increases in intensity, we'd worry about this being a heart attack.
Video paused. Stylized text reads, if pain goes away. A smiling man stands with arms akimbo and eyes closed. The word angina is written across his chest. The man, now within the face of an alarm clock, has bent forward, holding his chest with both hands and with eyes wide open. The bells on the alarm clock rattle. Split text on both sides reads, if it lasts and increases in intensity. Then the man's limbs extend outwards, except one hand that still holds his chest. His eyes are now open wider, and his mouth is agape. Black lightning bolts emanate from him. Then he lies spread eagle on the ground. Above him in stylized text are the words, heart attack.
We all get occasional aches and pains, and these might occur in the chest area too. My rule of thumb is that if your chest hurts when you push on it, like with your thumb, then it's likely a muscle or bone injury, not a heart problem.
Video paused. A man stands with a stern expression and a circle of small black lightning bolts on his chest. A small speech bubble reads, ouch. Bold text reading, rule of thumb is written over his shoulder. A large hand enters the frame. The thumb presses inside the circle on his chest. Text under his speech bubble reads, muscle or bone injury, and the man's stern expression turns to a smile.
The second big sign is pain in the arm, jaw, or neck. You might feel it in just one spot, or it may travel around. Again, how you would describe the pain is less important. One person may call it a shooting pain, while others would call it tingling or numbness.
Video paused. A man in silhouette with his arms extended outwards. He holds a sign in one hand that reads, second big sign. His arm, jaw, and neck are labeled with text, accompanied by small black lightning bolts. A cascade of lightning bolts moves from his arm across his chest to his neck. Stylized text next to him reads, numbness, pain, tingling.
The third is experiencing something like nausea, shortness of breath, sweating, or feeling faint. These might not seem unusual if you've had a heavy meal or tough workout, but if they're showing up for no reason, then it's a real concern.
Video paused. Stylized text reads, third big sign. Surrounding it are three men. To the left, a man with a green face slouches forward with an open mouth and closed eyes. There are bubbles in front of his face, and the word nausea is written behind his head. To the right, a man in athletic wear stands slouched forward with his arms raised. His eyes are closed and his mouth is open. Lines emanate from his mouth. Around his head are the words, shortness of breath. Between the two men, a third rests on his knees. He's slouched forward with his head down and his mouth open. Drops of sweat run down his head and pool on the ground. Text in front of him reads, sweating or feeling faint.
Now, the big, bright, waving red flag is if you feel a combination of these symptoms at the same time. If this happens, you need to get to an emergency department immediately.
Video paused. A flag with text written across it flaps in the wind. The text reads, all symptoms at the same time. A tall building with an H sign on the side of it. A large red arrow with emergency written in it points to the building's large glass entrance.
I strongly recommend dialing 911, but some guys are even too stubborn for that. If nothing else, have a friend drive you to the hospital right away.
Video paused. Below, to the left, an arm extends holding a smartphone with 911 written across the screen. A man with his arms folded and chin turned upwards with eyes closed turns himself away from it. To the right, Text reads, "Get a drive to the hospital." White text in a black circle with exclamation points reads, "Right away." Above it, a car stops in front of the hospital. The driver reaches out, pointing to the emergency room entrance.
Context is important here as well. If you're pushing yourself physically and something is wrong with your heart, you're more likely to experience the warning signs. This is because you're exceeding what we call your threshold, meaning your heart isn't getting enough blood and oxygen.
Video paused. Stylized text reads, "Exceeding threshold," above a silhouette of a heart. Text written on the heart reads, "Not enough blood and oxygen." A man on the left in a hockey uniform leans forward in an action pose. Lines emanate from his head. A shirtless man on the right hunches forward as he lifts a free weight. Lines emanate from his head.
It can be scary to think there might be something wrong. A lot of guys would rather ignore the warning signs than get themselves checked out. But it's far easier to address heart issues and maintain your health in advance than it is to recover from a heart attack.
Video paused. A man holds his hand with his palm facing outward. A speech bubble above his head reads, "I'm fine." Text on either side of him reads, "It's easier to address in advance than to recover from a heart attack." On the left, the man walks on a treadmill. He's dressed in athletic wear. On the right, he hunches forward with his hair disheveled and beard stubble on his face. He has lines under his eyes. He wears a hospital gown and slippers and is attached via a cord to a machine.
Pay attention to what your body is telling you, and if those symptoms we discussed sound familiar, talk to your doctor as soon as possible. Thanks for listening.
Video paused. Text atop the screen reads, "If these symptoms sound familiar." A man holds his hand to his ear. Bubbles appear on either side of him, in which small labeled diagrams illustrate the following: indigestion, chest pain, pain in arm, nausea, sweating, pain in jaw, shortness of breath, pain in neck, faintness. The illustration of the man is replaced with one of him standing arm in arm with a doctor in a lab coat with a stethoscope. They both smile. Beneath them, text reads, "Talk to your doctor." Then a hand writes in small red script, "Thanks for listening." Slow motion black and white footage of hockey players on the ice. LockerRoomDoctor.com. The information and references contained in this video are intended solely for the information and education of the viewer. Copyright 2019 Reframe Health Films. Produced with the participation of TELUS Fund, a Movember Foundation funded project.